Hello and welcome to the first episode on this yet to be named new channel. Probably something railway or something to do with railways. So I thought I'd do like a channel introduction, go through the plan, go through kind of like what we're working with, and kind of document bit by bit the building process of some track layouts that I wanted to do. And as you can see in front of you, there's a variety of different locos from different generations, different age groups, etc., which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, so I recently started with the model railway stuff. Throughout kind of like very early childhood, I've done a lot to do with modelling and hobby stuff. You know, like a lot of people, it started off kind of with airfix kits, building model planes, and things like that. Then it moved into more wargaming stuff with kind of like Warhammer 40k and doing that kind of stuff. Got a lot of enjoyment out of that. Very rarely played though. Was always more interested in the modelling, the painting, building terrain, scenery, planning out kind of like boards, and the more diorama based stuff. But I very rarely actually make dioramas, weirdly. And it's only recently, the past kind of couple of months, that I happened to be down at my dad's, and because I've still got some stuff down at his house, I figured, I'll move some stuff, give him a bit more space, because it's my stuff, my brother's stuff, and it's kind of like we've taken over a room and neither of us live there anymore. So figured I'll take some of the bulkier items. This was after we'd just been on a holiday to Pickering, which, if you know where Pickering is, it's on the North Yorkshire Moors, near the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. There's a station in Pickering. We always call it the start of the North Yorkshire Moors railway line. Goes through to Gromont, and then sometimes they do specials from all the way from Pickering to Whitby, but that's kind of like by the by. Many happy memories there. Many happy memories kind of like going to heritage railway sites and looking at preserved engines, especially with my dad. To say I'm relatively young, 37, so not old, not young, but I've seen a lot of steam engines because it's something we've always done as kind of like father and son going to these different places. Peak Rail, Midlands Railway, the one in Paynton, which I can't remember the one with the boat service as well. That's kind of like things we've done from a kid up until being an adult. Scarborough Spar Express, any specials we can get on. Because I was a donator when they were first rebuilding the Scotsman, part of the SOS campaign, the Save Our Scotsman appeal. I got invited to the initial unveiling when it was done, and I used the "done" in inverted commas because they did the good unveiling, and then they kind of like, and it'll be on the line soon, and then they did an inspection, and unfortunately, I can't remember. I think they found a crack in one of the main frames, which meant they had to take it all apart and fix it. And I think it's because they had to do so much in taking it apart. I think they said, well, there were some other jobs we needed to do. We might as well do that as well. But yeah, that were kind of like fantastic. And then seeing Scotsman in steam when it came to Doncaster. When the A4s came over, so Mallard, Gresley, Dominion of New Zealand, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Dominion of Canada, I want to say, but that might be wrong. I can't remember all the names. But yeah, the the surviving A4s, all the A4s, they basically that were still as one, they brought together first at York, and they had them all in the roundhouse, and you could see them and walk around them and stuff like that. And then we went again up to Shildon. Is it Shildon? Which is, North Yorkshire Moors. It's linked to the not North Yorkshire Moors, the Railway Museum at York. It's kind of linked together. But Shildon kind of feels a bit like a storehouse. So the locos that aren't quite, they might have been for York for a bit, and then they've moved back to and from. Yeah, it's a funny old place, Shildon, but I like it. It's good. It's very much an engine shed. If you've never been to Shildon, it's just literally an engine fit shed filled with engines with a yard. But it's good. It's good to see everything. So yeah, there's been stuff like that. It's always been, especially the Steam stuff, because I love Steam. Steam's great. There's pictures of me when I was younger, which I can't find, otherwise I'd put them up. At Doncaster Plant, which is Doncaster Works. For people that might know what Doncaster Plant is, we always just call it the plant. When Blue Peter was still in Steam, and I'm stood on the footplate. I've driven a little tank engine, a little cell tank at, I think it was at Peak Rail or Midlands Railway, I can't remember. They did a driver for a fiver thing to raise a bit of money. And obviously it weren't far. It was a tiny little saddle tank, just like a little dinky shunter. He drove it up the sidings, he drove it back down the sidings. So yeah, I like steam trains, basically. I wouldn't want to call myself an anorak, but I probably know more than most people. Well, not most people. I know more than, your garden variety human being about steam engines, especially to say how old I am. At least that's what it feels like sometimes. Kind of like moving on to present day, got all my railway stuff out, set it all up. It still works, cracking. Which kind of got me thinking, well, I have income now since, being a teenager and having the original train set. I can get some more stuff. So I went out and get some more stuff, and we'll go through that in some other episodes because I bought a lot in a very short space of time. But yeah, so it's kind of like it's a hobby that's grown, and because I've fallen kind of out of love with some other hobbies that I was doing, such as the wargaming stuff. I've tried different formats, different things. It's very much like the miniatures and models you build for Warhammer 40k, historical miniatures and stuff like that. They're very much a case of you build them, you paint them, they look fantastic, but then what? Unless you're playing all the time, which for me is not a massive option because I work a lot. I don't know many people that are massively into kind of wargaming or anything. So they, you build them, you put them in a shelf, and they get displayed for a bit, and then go in a box. But with model railways, they actually do something, and you don't need to be part of a bigger group. Funnily enough, though, of all the hobbies I've tried to get the missus into, she quite likes model railways, which is why she ended up with her own model railway set that we got her. This is a Harry Potter one with a castle class, which is a fantastic little engine. But again, we'll go over that in previous episodes. But I mean, I like hobbies. I'm a bit of a magpie. I like collecting things. I like doing things. There's not much I'm not interested, from little toy soldiers to kind of like Lego. We've collections of Monopolies, Unos, cars, the little die-cast ones, a lot of Hot Wheels, Matchbox, stuff like that. then there's kind of like the other stuff that I'm into, like the medieval reenactment. I'm a medieval reenactor. So I've got like small collection of reenactment gear and armour and weapons. And then there's cars. I love cars. Like fast cars, utility cars. I own three cars. Much to the missus's delight. None of which are kind of like, oh wow, that's really worth having 3 cars. There's 2 Octavias and a van, a Volkswagen Caddy. But I love them. I think the cars are fantastic, and I generally buy older, more knackered cars because I like to fix them. Like it's like a weird thing, which that kind of like locomotives, and trains, and stuff like that. One of the things I always found fascinating about, especially about steam trains, is how can something that is essentially a giant kettle and weighs a stupid amount of tonnage travel so fast over so much distance and just works and pulls such massive loads and stuff like that. Like, and from an engineering point of view, fantastic. And then there's also that kind of like artistic craftsmanship that a steam, especially if you look at the really, really early steam engines, they're not just kind of like your like modern day engines and trains and stuff like that. They're good, but they're very much fit for purpose, built to a cost, kind of like that. But steam, like all the little trimmings, all the little guardrails, the painting, the liveries, the kind of like the detailing work on it. It's kind of like, wow, you didn't have to go to all that effort. That cost a lot more, but it was more kind of like, well, look at what we can do. Like, look at this wonderful design and this kind of like artistic flair into this essentially utility vehicle. Like, think of some of the most romantic scenes in films and kind of like the most iconic moments in films and stuff like that. Can you imagine Harry Potter and the Hogwarts Express pulls up and it's like some diesel, just some boring old diesel in British Rail blue and yellow. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but it doesn't evoke much feeling, is it? It's like cool. Is that the wizard train then? But no, it's a castle class. No, actually, no, it's a hall class in the film. But yeah, it's a steam engine and it hisses and things. And then yeah, you could wax lyrical about stuff like that for ages. So yeah, so like I said, I've decided that we'll kind of gonna document the whole thing. I have done YouTube before. I did some gaming stuff and stuff like that, which I still do on occasion under the moniker of Captain Jack Gumption. But like, I've decided to make a new channel because this doesn't really fit with anything like that. It's very much sci-fi gaming and stuff. So I figured we'd start again. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of like go through where it all began with this interest, let's say, not obsession, interest in little toy trains, and then we'll kind of like take it from there. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got some Brio. So this is kind of like probably where it all started with the train set stuff. I have some very vague, very fond memories from being a very small child of going to the Early Learning Centre, which was the local one in Doncaster. It's not there anymore. I think it's a Jeweller's or something now, or a Couplands or something. But yeah, and we used to get Brio. So like, it's wooden, basically a wooden train set system. There's something really sweet and charming about Brio. Like, so this was probably one of the last things I ever got because I was starting to get to the age where, like, I was growing older. Wooden train sets and stuff like that were a bit kind of kiddie, let's say. But yeah, it's fantastic. I used to have hours of fun with Brio. I've still got it all. A little loop. So as you can see, it kind of like runs along this wooden slotted track, and the track all fits together. And you know, there's everything from these little bridges. Come on, Mallard, out the way. Like little humpback bridges and stuff like that, little crossroads, little points junctions. Obviously the points junctions don't work like points, they're just kind of like it's like a Y basically. Like very simple stuff, like all held together and thingied with magnets, essentially. If you look on this one, like this is held together with magnets, and you got your little cargo trucks, and they did little vehicles, which I've still got some of those somewhere, fire engines, tow trucks and stuff like that. And you had from kind of like the, let's just slightly adjust it, so the very simple stuff, you could actually get quite technical in a simplistic sort of way, because it is a kid's toy at the end of the day. It's like a toddler's toy. Just move this intercity out of the way. So yeah, so you know, it rolls around. Hours of fun, just kind of like letting it loose on the hills, and it goes on its own. But then you've got like things like this drawbridge. So you know, you have your little whatever come up, and you put your crossings down, and your train stops there, and you can wind up your wheelhouse. And it was all very, it's precision made. I don't know who makes, made in Sweden. Same place as IKEA. But yeah, I don't know if Brio's still going around. I don't know if it's still going around in its same sort. Look at that, like, how cool is that? So you've got it that way on that bend. You've also got it on the other side. So you can, you know, super simple. Super simple. I like stuff like that. It's good for kids. And, you know, it unleashes that kind of creativity of layout and how things work, mechanisms and stuff like that. And yeah, I like it. I like it. It's good. So this is kind of like where it all started for me with the train set stuff. And because, like, as kids have toys that they like and they play with a little bit. They have toys that they want and don't really play much with. This was very much one of the ones that I liked a lot. You can see it's a bit tattered, and somewhere it's got felt tip pen on it and stuff like that, where I decided to colour it in. And I got in lots of trouble for that. But yeah, it's just a cool, sweet little kind of simple toy, and it's a railway. You know, it's like my first railway. It's not motorised or anything like that, but it's hours and hours of fun when you're a kid. But because I liked it so much, how old would I have been? I think I was in secondary school. My dad got me my first train set, and it was a Hornby one. It was the Steam Freight, which is a loop with the extra bit, quite a common setup. You know, loop with the siding, track mat. Very, very cool set. I'll put some pictures up on the screen because it's a bit. I haven't got a wide angle lens, so it's a bit hard to get stuff like that in the frame. But we've got Mallard there. Look. So Steam Freight comes with this, which I believe is a B12. There we go. In a nice LNER livery. This is still running. Right, this must be a good 10, 15 years old at least now. But yeah, it was fantastic. I liked this. A simple little loop and used to go around. And one of the things, and I've not seen this in many other engines, which I wish they'd do. Maybe it's just me that likes the gimmicky sort of stuff. But in the tender, it makes train noise. Like, you can hear that. And then the faster it goes, the more it makes. It's got this like little, I don't know what it is. Focus. Yeah. Got a little cam valve on it, and it just took something that which feels like cardboard, to be honest, and just makes that sound. So I mean, because this is obviously before the days of, what is it nowadays, DCC, and all the fancy sound stuff. This was very much before the age of the internet kicked off. You know, we were still rocking AOL dial-up and Tiscali, because Tiscali was free for the first hour and stuff like that. But yeah, this was kind of like my first train, because we didn't have a massive amount of money when we were growing up. So like stuff like this was a real treat, like, because you go out and you'd see something like this and you'd hear something like this, and then you go home and you could play with something like this. How cool is that? It's a little freight engine. I love my. This is probably one of this is my favourite loco that I've got, and probably always will, because I think it looks fantastic. It runs pretty damn good as well. Probably could do with a bit of clean, maybe a proper oiling. But yeah, there's some slight little damage bits and stuff like that, because it has been played with. And I know, like, because I've been watching a lot of YouTube and stuff, and like I know there seems to be a bit of a, I don't know, I don't want to call it snobbery, but do you know what I mean? Like a little bit of a, with some model trains, it's got to be the latest, best, brilliant, and then they're complaining how much stuff is. I bought so much stuff lately, and I've not really, considering what I've got, I've not spent much at all. And yes, it's not the newest, modernist, most stuff, but it's good stuff. I mean, I bought a Patriot class the other day for £39. It's a gorgeous engine, and it runs, and it pulls wagons. So what more do you really want from a model railway? I suppose each their own. But yeah, so this is my first train, my first engine, and it was fantastic, and I liked it. And it just so happened that one of my uncles, he happened to have his old train set, which was it was basically a box, and I've only got one of the. I've got the motorised engine bit of this. Isn't it? An Intercity 125, a high-speed train, or a class. Insert class number here. I'm not very good with the later stuff. I know what Deltics are, because I like Deltics. They're big and mean. But yeah, an Intercity 125, and he gave me a box of stuff, and it had a shunter in it, and it had some station stuff, and then essentially that kind of like grew my collection, and that's basically all I had for years is some track, and this track, I tell a lie, that's not all I had for years. So I had this, and I had some track, which is old Hornby track, and some, is it Joof Playcraft track, and stuff like that. And then at some point, my dad dug all of his old train set stuff out, which is not a lot. Like because he had a lot of 3-rail Hornby stuff, mostly, which he said he's dug it out again. So that might be popping up at some point. That might be a bit of a treat, because he has got a. Has he got a Royal Scot? I can't remember. But yeah, he gave me some of his old track, as well as this. Now I can't remember what this is exactly, because both me and my dad at first thought that this was an American, or like a Continental engine, because it's a tank engine, but it doesn't look very British. I did some research. They were British. It's a something tank engine, but there weren't many made. It's an old Triang one. This is from 19. 1960, 1950. It's old. It's very old. And surprisingly, this still runs. No, it doesn't run particularly. It's not like Ace, but it runs and it pulls stuff. I don't run it very often for the simple fact that, you know, this to me is irreplaceable for a number of reasons. One, it's old. Two, from what I can see, they're fairly collectible. And three, it belonged to my dad. So it's kind of like got a lot of historical, sentimental value. But yeah, it's a good little engine. Because of the type, so I was reading up, because of the type of plastic they used, this roof section sags. That's a common thing. But other than that, it has got, if you look at the front, it has got some damage on the front. Some chipped plastic. None of these light up. I don't think these have ever lit up. They're just there. That's what threw me and my dad thinking it was an American or a European one. Because we thought it was... There's not many British engines we could think of that have built-in lamps. We could be wrong. But yeah, it's a proper little beast of a tank engine. It says Triang Railways on the side. I'll put up all the details of it. But yeah, so this, I think I've got a shunter somewhere still in a box. A variety of different carriages, some old Triang carriages, some, as I said, Joof ones, the Playcraft ones, and stuff like that. So that's kind of like where it's come from, and it's like, so I got it into my head. If I'm going to build a railway, if I'm going to build a layout and do all the things I've learned from like modelling and all the Warhammer stuff and stuff like that, then why not put a challenge to myself to do everything? So the plan is 90% of everything I get is going to be pre-owned, like pre-owned track, pre-owned trains, engines, locos, sets, just to kind of like give it a second chance and kind of like prove like you can get into a hobby that's classed as expensive for reasonably cheap. And you can kind of like have fun with it and do a lot with it on a budget. I know there's other YouTube channels out there that do it, budget model railways and stuff like that, which are fantastic channels, well chuffed, and stuff like that. But yeah, and again, the reason we're making this video is because another one of my hobbies is making videos and video editing and stuff like that. So I thought I'd document it and take you all along for the trip. So the plan will be, as we go through the episode, is we're going to do some kind of like unboxing-y style reviews of stuff that I've bought. We're going to have hopefully a series on kind of like the track layout and the space and like how that's going to evolve. I've got two spaces. One's inside the house, one's outside the house. We're going to do the inside one first, because that's a smaller space, and that'll be like the test bed. And then the outside one will be a bigger one, and probably a bit more industrial as well, because the missus is less likely to go outside, and she's not really into coal mines and tank engines and freight trains and stuff like that. She likes a nice passenger trains and stuff like that. So yeah, so there's more to come. Hopefully the production value will get a little bit better as well. No promises there though. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and stay tuned, and I suppose until next time.